Diana Winters stood before the full-length mirror in her bridal suite, her heart racing with excitement and nervous energy. The wedding dress her grandmother had worn 50 years ago fit her perfectly, the delicate lace catching the morning sunlight that streamed through the windows of the Grandview estate. Today was supposed to be the beginning of her forever with Gabriel Stone, the man who had captured her heart 3 years ago. At a scientific conference where she was presenting her research on extraterrestrial life patterns, her sister Raven entered the room carrying a bouquet of white roses mixed with strange blue flowers that seemed to shimmer in the light. Raven had always been the more conventionally beautiful sister, with her golden hair and perfect features, but today her smile seemed forced, her green eyes holding a shadow that Diana couldn't quite understand. "You look absolutely radiant," Raven said, though her voice carried an odd undertone. "Gabriel is such a lucky man. I just hope he truly deserves you." Diana laughed softly, adjusting her veil. "Raven, you've been acting strange all week. Gabriel loves me, and I love him. Today's going to be perfect." Meanwhile, in the groom's quarters across the estate, Gabriel Stone paced nervously in his tailored black tuxedo. His best man, Jasper Reed, watched with amusement as Gabriel checked his pocket watch for the 10th time in 5 minutes. "She's going to be there, Gabriel," Jasper assured him. "Diana wouldn't miss this for anything in the universe." Gabriel's dark eyes sparkled with joy. "I know. It's just that she's been having those strange dreams lately. She keeps talking about voices calling to her from the stars, about feeling like something important is coming. Her work with xenobiology has always fascinated her, but lately, it's like she's obsessed." As the ceremony hour approached, something extraordinary began to happen in the sky above the estate. The clear blue afternoon suddenly darkened as unusual cloud formations swirled overhead. The temperature dropped dramatically, and a strange humming sound filled the air, so low that people felt it in their bones rather than heard it with their ears. Diana felt it first. Standing in the bridal chamber, she suddenly gasped and pressed her hand to her chest. The peculiar blue flowers in her bouquet began to glow brighter, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Through the window, she could see the wedding guests looking up at the sky in confusion and concern. "Diana, what's wrong?" Raven asked, though there was something calculating in her expression rather than genuine worry. "I don't know," Diana whispered, moving toward the window. "It's like something is calling to me." The same voice from my dreams, but stronger now. High above the estate, invisible to human eyes, a sleek alien vessel hung in the atmosphere. Inside, Zephyr of the Altarian Council stood before a viewing screen, silver blue skin reflecting the ship's soft lighting. His people had been monitoring Earth for decades, waiting for the right moment to make contact. That moment had arrived sooner than expected. "The invasion fleet will reach this sector in 72 hours, reported Oriana, his fellow scientist and strategist. "If we don't act now, the humans will be unprepared. Their weapons technology is still centuries behind what they'll face." Luminous violet eyes focused on the young woman in white who stood at the window below. Diana Winters was one of the few humans whose mind could handle the advanced knowledge they needed to share. Her research into extraterrestrial life had prepared her consciousness in ways she didn't yet understand. "She's the one," he said quietly. "Neural patterns match our projections perfectly. She can bridge the gap between our species and help prepare Earth's defenses." The wedding ceremony was set to begin in the estate's rose garden, where 200 guests waited under the increasingly dark sky. Gabriel stood at the altar, his confidence beginning to waver as the atmospheric disturbances intensified. The officiating minister, Reverend Matthews, kept glancing nervously at the swirling clouds above. Diana walked slowly down the aisle on her father's arm, but every step felt surreal, as if she were moving through a dream. The blue flowers in her bouquet now glowed so brightly that several guests pointed and whispered. The humming sound grew stronger. Some people began to feel dizzy as Diana reached the altar and took Gabriel's hands. Their eyes met with such love and intensity that for a moment the strange phenomena seemed to fade away. Gabriel squeezed her hands gently. "Whatever happens," he whispered, "I love you more than life itself." "I love you too," Diana replied, but her voice sounded distant. As if part of her consciousness was already elsewhere, Reverend Matthews began the ceremony, his voice competing with the growing atmospheric disturbance. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today in the sight of God and these witnesses to join Gabriel and Diana in holy matrimony. But before he could continue, the sky erupted in brilliant streaks of light. What looked like shooting stars to the guests were actually alien vessels breaking through Earth's atmosphere. The larger ship, still invisible, began its approach for extraction. Diana suddenly stiffened, her eyes rolling back as she received a telepathic communication from Zephyr. Images flooded her mind. Massive warships approaching Earth, cities under attack, humanity crying out for salvation. She saw herself standing alongside alien allies. Her scientific knowledge combined with their advanced technology to create Earth's only hope for survival. "Diana!" Gabriel shouted as she swayed on her feet. "What's happening?" The extraction beam activated just as Diana collapsed. To the wedding guest, it appeared that she simply vanished in a column of shimmering light that descended from the storm clouds above. One moment she was there in Gabriel's arms, the next she was gone, leaving only her wedding bouquets scattered on the ground, the blue flowers now dim and ordinary. Chaos erupted among the guests. Some screamed, others ran for cover, and a few pulled out their phones to record what they were certain was some kind of elaborate hoax or special effect gone wrong. Gabriel fell to his knees where Diana had been standing, frantically searching the ground as if he could find some trace of her. "Diana, Diana," he cried out, his voice breaking with anguish and disbelief. Raven rushed to his side, but her consoling embrace held a secret satisfaction. She had witnessed something impossible, but more importantly, she had seen her sister disappear just when. Raven had been planning to reveal the forged documents that would have convinced Gabriel that Diana had been unfaithful. Now she wouldn't need them. "Gabriel, I'm so sorry," Raven whispered, holding him as he sobbed. "She's gone, but I'm here. I'll always be here for you." Above them, invisible in her alien sanctuary, Diana watched through the ship's viewing screen. As her wedding day dissolved into chaos, tears streamed down her face as she saw Gabriel's broken form on the ground, surrounded by confused and frightened guests. "This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do," Zephyr said gently, his own heart heavy with the weight of their necessary cruelty. "But she would have died along with billions of others if we hadn't acted. The invasion fleet shows no mercy." Diana turned from the screen, her white dress now seeming like a costume from another life. "How long do we have to prepare?" "Human time measurements? Approximately 5 of your years," Oriana replied. "You will learn our ways, our technology, our strategies. When you return to Earth, you will be humanity's greatest hope." As the alien ship rose higher into the atmosphere and disappeared among the stars, Gabriel remained kneeling in the rose garden, clutching Diana's empty wedding veil. The woman he loved more than his own life had vanished without explanation, leaving him with nothing but questions, heartbreak, and the beginning of a grief that would reshape his entire existence. The wedding guests slowly dispersed, whispering theories and calling reporters. But Gabriel stayed until long after sunset, hoping against hope that Diana would somehow return. She never did, and that night marked the end of one life and the beginning of another darker chapter that would test the very limits of human love and determination. Diana stood on the observation deck of the massive Alterian mothership, watching Earth rotate slowly in the darkness of space. 5 years had passed since her wedding day. She had been transformed from a simple xenobiologist into something far more extraordinary. Her human appearance remained largely unchanged, though her eyes now held flecks of silver that gleamed when she used her newly acquired telepathic abilities. Beside her, Oriana studied holographic displays showing Earth's current defensive capabilities. The female Alterian had become Diana's closest friend and mentor, teaching her not just alien technology, but also the complex emotional wisdom of a species that had survived countless wars across the galaxy. "Your planet's military forces have improved significantly," Oriana observed, her crystalline voice carrying notes of approval. "The strange artifacts we've been leaving for them to find have accelerated their technological development by decades." Diana nodded, though her heart ached with every image of Earth. Gabriel's company has been at the forefront of reverse engineering the technology. Even without knowing the true source, his brilliant mind has been adapting alien concepts into human innovations. Through their advanced monitoring systems, Diana had watched Gabriel transform from a heartbroken man into a driven technological pioneer. Stone Industries had become the world's leading developer of advanced energy systems and defensive technologies. Though Gabriel himself seemed to work with an intensity born of pain rather than passion, he still searches for answers about your disappearance, Zephyr said, approaching them with his characteristic silent grace. Over the years, he had become more than Diana's protector. A deep bond had formed between them, though both had been careful not to let it develop into something that might compromise their mission. Diana touched the pendant around her neck, a hybrid creation that allowed her to maintain a psychic connection with both her alien companions and, occasionally, with Gabriel's dreams. I visit his mind sometimes when he sleeps. He's built monuments to our lost love, but he's also built walls around his heart that even Raven can't penetrate. Gabriel Stone stood in his corporate boardroom on the 95th floor of Stone Tower, the architectural marvel he had constructed in the years following Diana's disappearance. The building's design incorporated strange geometric patterns that had come to him in dreams. Patterns that, unknown to him, were actually Altarian architectural principles that Diana had unconsciously transmitted during their psychic connections. Jasper Reed, now his business partner and closest friend, spread technical blueprints across the conference table. The latest artifact was found in the Nevada desert. This one's different, Gabriel. It's not just technology, it's almost like it's trying to communicate. Gabriel studied the crystalline object that pulsed with the same blue light he remembered. From Diana's wedding bouquet? His company had been collecting and studying these mysterious artifacts for 3 years, each one advancing human technology in ways that seemed almost miraculous. Any word from the government research teams? Gabriel asked, though his mind was elsewhere. Every artifact they discovered felt familiar, as if he had seen such things in dreams that felt more real than his waking life. Commander Thorne wants to meet with us tomorrow, Jasper replied. The military is finally ready to admit that these objects aren't from Earth, and they want our help preparing for whatever's coming. Gabriel's jaw tightened. Commander Miranda Thorne led Earth's newly formed Planetary Defense Initiative, a secret organization created in response to the increasing evidence of extraterrestrial activity. The same activity that had begun on his wedding day 5 years ago. Set up the meeting, Gabriel said. If there are answers out there about what happened to Diana, I'm going to find them. In her luxury penthouse across the city, Raven Blackwood studied the photographs covering her wall. 5 years of investigation had yielded no trace of her sister, which suited her purposes perfectly. She had spent those years positioning herself as Gabriel's emotional anchor, the one person who truly understood his loss. Her phone buzzed with a message from Gabriel, working late again. "Don't wait up," Raven smiled coldly. Despite her best efforts, Gabriel remained devoted to Diana's memory. He had dated no one, formed no serious attachments, and deflected every romantic advance Raven had made with gentle but firm refusal. It was as if he somehow knew that Diana was still alive. She walked to her window and looked up at the stars, feeling a strange mixture of love and hatred. "Where are you, sister?" she whispered. "And why won't you let him go?" Unknown to Raven, her question was about to be answered in ways she could never have anticipated. Aboard the Altarian vessel, emergency alarms began to sound. Diana rushed to the command center, where Zephyr and Oriana were studying tactical displays that showed massive ships emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. "They're early," Oriana said grimly. "The Vex Armada has arrived 2 years ahead of our projections." Diana's blood turned to ice as she saw the size of the invasion fleet. Hundreds of massive warships, each capable of destroying entire continents, were moving toward Earth with deadly purpose. The Vex were a warrior race that had consumed dozens of civilizations, leaving nothing but dead worlds in their wake. "How long do we have?" Diana asked, her scientific mind already calculating defensive strategies. 72 hours before they reach Earth's orbital space," Zephyr replied. "We must act now." Diana closed her eyes and felt the weight of two worlds on her shoulders. For 5 years, she had prepared for this moment. Learning Altarian combat techniques, studying alien technology, and developing hybrid strategies that combined human creativity with extraterrestrial knowledge. But she had always imagined having more time. There's something else, Oriana said quietly. The hybrid child you're carrying. She will be crucial to the final battle. Diana's hand moved instinctively to her stomach, where new life had been growing for the past few months. Nova, as she had named her unborn daughter, was the product of her deep emotional and psychic bond with Zephyr. The child would be born with abilities that neither species possessed alone. Gabriel doesn't know, Diana whispered. When I return to Earth, how do I explain that I've been living among aliens for 5 years? How do I tell him that I'm carrying another being's child? Zephyr stepped closer, his violet eyes filled with understanding. Love transcends species, Diana. What matters is that you return to him with the knowledge to save both our peoples. Your Gabriel's heart will recognize the truth, just as yours recognized mine. As the Vex fleet drew closer, Diana made the choice that would determine the fate of 2 civilizations. She would return to Earth immediately, not as the vanished bride, but as humanity's secret weapon. The reunion with Gabriel would be complicated by years of separation, by her alien companions, and by the child she carried, but their love had been strong enough to transcend space and time. Prepare the stealth insertion craft, she commanded, her voice carrying new authority. I'm going home. Oriana handed her a small device that would allow her to maintain communication with the Altarian fleet.
Oh, remember the Vex respond only to superior force.
Earth's governments must be convinced to unite their defenses, and Gabriel's technology will be the key to adapting our weapons for human use. As Diana prepared for her return to Earth, she thought about the man who had waited 5 years for answers. Gabriel had built an empire while mourning their lost love, never knowing that every innovation, every breakthrough, every dream that had driven him forward had been guided by her invisible presence. The hardest part would be revealing that she had chosen to leave, that she had spent 5 years among the stars while he grieved alone. But the approaching enemy left no room for gradual revelations or gentle explanations. Earth's survival depended on their ability to unite human determination with alien wisdom. Diana strapped herself into the insertion craft, her heart pounding with anticipation and terror. In 18 hours, she would see Gabriel again. 72 hours, the fate of humanity would be decided. And somewhere between those moments, she would have to find a way to bridge 5 years of separation with a love that had never truly died. As the small ship detached from the mothership and began its descent toward Earth, Diana pressed her hand to her stomach and whispered to her, "Unborn daughter, hold on, Nova. We're going home to meet your father, and we're going to save the world together." Diana's stealth craft touched down silently in the rooftop garden of Stone Tower at midnight, exactly 5 years after her disappearance. The building that Gabriel had constructed reached toward the stars like a monument to their lost love, and Diana felt her heart break anew as she recognized the architectural elements that had come from their shared dreams. Gabriel was alone in his office, working by the light of holographic displays that showed defensive calculations for the mysterious energy signatures that had been detected at the edge of the solar system. He looked older, his dark hair touched with silver at the temples. His eyes held a weariness that spoke of years spent searching for answers that seemed impossible to find. Diana stood in the garden for several minutes, gathering the courage to face the man she had loved and abandoned. The man who had built an empire while waiting for her return. Her hand rested on her stomach, where Nova stirred restlessly as if sensing the emotional turmoil of her parents. Finally, Diana walked through the glass doors that led to Gabriel's office. The sound made him look up from his work, and the tablet he was holding clattered to the floor as their eyes met across the room. "Hello, Gabriel," Diana said softly, her voice carrying 5 years of longing and regret. Gabriel stood slowly, his face cycling through disbelief, joy, and then confusion as he took in her appearance. She wore clothing that seemed to be woven from starlight itself, and her eyes held depths that had not been there on their wedding day. "Diana," he whispered, then louder, "Diana, you're alive. You're here. Where have you been? What happened to you?" She moved toward him carefully, knowing that the next few minutes would determine not just their personal future, but the fate of two worlds. "I've been preparing to save Earth, Gabriel. I've been living among the stars, learning from beings who want to help us survive what's coming." Gabriel's expression shifted from joy to bewilderment. "What are you talking about?" "Diana, you vanished from our wedding. 5 years, Diana. 5 years I've been searching, grieving, hoping." "I know," Diana said, tears flowing freely now. "Know what I put you through, and I'm sorry. But Gabriel, there's an invasion fleet approaching Earth. We have maybe 60 hours before they arrive, and everything you've built. Every piece of technology your company has developed, it's all been part of preparing for this moment." Before Gabriel could respond, the office windows exploded inward as Raven burst through, having used her security access to track the energy signature of Diana's arrival. She stopped short when she saw her sister standing there, very much alive, and more beautiful than ever. Raven snarled, her carefully maintained facade of grief crumbling away. "You been alive this whole time, while Gabriel suffered?" "While I tried to help him heal," Diana turned to face her sister. And for the first time, her enhanced abilities allowed her to see the darkness that had always lived in Raven's heart. "You were never trying to help him heal, Raven. You were trying to make him forget me so you could take my place." The revelation of betrayal, Raven's face twisted with 5 years of suppressed jealousy and rage. "So what if I was? You abandoned him. You disappeared without a word, without explanation. I was here. I was the one who held him while he cried for you." Gabriel looked between the two sisters, his brilliant mind beginning to piece together implications he had never considered. "Raven, what is she talking about?" Diana's telepathic abilities, enhanced by her time with the Altarians, allowed her to see into Raven's memories. What she found there made her gasp in horror. "Gabriel," she knew. "The night before our wedding, Raven received a communication about my extraction. She could have warned us, could have given us time to prepare together. But she chose to let me disappear because she wanted you for herself." "That's not true," Raven shouted, but her face had gone pale. Diana stepped closer to Gabriel, her silver-flecked eyes blazing with power and pain. She was contacted by someone who had intercepted Altarian communications. They offered her information about alien technology in exchange for keeping silent about my abduction. She chose to let you believe I had abandoned you rather than risk losing her chance to win your love." Gabriel's face went through a series of emotions: shock, betrayal, and finally a cold fury that Diana had never seen before. "Raven, is this true?" Raven's composure finally cracked completely. Yes, it's true. But I did it because I love you, Gabriel. I've loved you since college, long before she ever met you. Deserved a chance to show you that I could make you happy? By destroying my wedding day? By letting me believe the woman I loved had betrayed me?" Gabriel's voice was deadly quiet. "Get out of my building, Raven. Get out of my life." As Raven fled, sobbing and raging, Gabriel turned back to Diana with eyes that held both love and accusation. "You could have come back sooner. You could have sent me some sign that you were alive." Diana moved closer to him, close enough that he could see the alien technology woven into her clothing, could sense the otherworldly power that now flowed through her. "Gabriel, if I had come back even one day sooner, Earth would have been defenseless. Every artifact your company found, every breakthrough that advanced our technology, it was all carefully planned to prepare humanity for this war." She gestured toward the windows where strange lights were beginning to appear in the night sky. "The Vex Armada has arrived early. They're a warrior race that has destroyed dozens of civilizations. The only reason Earth has any chance of survival is because I spent 5 years learning their weaknesses, their tactics, their technology." Gabriel followed her gaze and saw what his sensors had been detecting: massive shapes moving against the stars, blotting out constellations as they approached. "The readings we've been getting, the energy signatures, their alien warships." "Yes," Diana said. "And there's something else you need to know." She took his hand and placed it on her stomach where the gentle curve of her pregnancy was just beginning to show. Gabriel's eyes widened as he felt the life growing there, and through Diana's enhanced abilities, he could sense something extraordinary about the child. "She's not entirely human," Diana said quietly. "Her father is Zephyr, an Altarian who has been my protector and companion. But Gabriel, this child, Nova, she's the key to defeating the Vex. She'll be born with abilities that can bridge the gap between human creativity and alien power." Gabriel's hand remained on her stomach, his face a mask of complex emotions. "You've been with someone else. You've built a life without me. I've been surviving and preparing, and never for one moment stopped loving you," Diana said fiercely. "Zephyr and I formed a bond born of necessity and mutual respect, but my heart has always belonged to you. That's why I'm here now, asking you to trust me one more time." Before Gabriel could respond, the building's emergency systems activated. As the first Vex attack ships entered Earth's atmosphere, through the windows they could see beams of destructive energy lancing down at major cities around the globe, testing humanity's defenses. Diana pulled a crystalline device from her robes and activated it, filling the room with holographic displays showing the battle unfolding across the planet. "Gabriel, I need you to choose. You can hate me for the choices I made, or you can help me save our world. Your technology, combined with Altarian knowledge, is Earth's only hope." Gabriel looked at the woman he had loved for 8 years, had mourned for 5, and had just found again in circumstances beyond anything he could have imagined. Then he looked at the alien warships that were systematically attacking every major population center on Earth. "What do you need me to do?" asked simply. Diana's face blazed with relief and love. "Give up everything. Your company, your wealth, your normal life. Come with me to the command ship. Help us coordinate Earth's defenses, and trust that love is stronger than the pain we've caused each other." Gabriel didn't hesitate. He activated his building systems, transferring control of Stone Industries to Jasper Red, along with instructions to distribute the company's defensive technologies to every government on Earth. Then he turned to Diana with the same expression of complete devotion he had worn on their wedding day. "I gave up everything the day you disappeared," he said. "I've just been waiting for a reason to live again." The final battle hours later, aboard the Altarian command vessel, Diana and Gabriel worked side by side, coordinating the defense of Earth. Gabriel's strategic mind, enhanced by access to alien computational systems, proved invaluable in directing human forces to maximum effectiveness. Zephyr approached them during a brief lull in the battle, his violet eyes reflecting respect for the human male who had accepted the situation with such grace.
Gabriel Stone.
He said in his musical voice, "I want you to know that Diana spoke of you every day. Her love for you gave her the strength to endure the separation." Gabriel looked at the being who had been Diana's companion and the father of her child, seeing nobility and honor rather than rivalry. "Take care of them both," he said simply. "That's all I ask." "We will take care of each other," Diana interjected, taking both their hands. "All of us together." As she spoke, Nova stirred in her womb, and suddenly the child's consciousness reached out telepathically to both her parents and to Zephyr. In that moment, Gabriel felt the full power of the hybrid child he would help raise, and understood that love truly did transcend species, circumstance, and time. The battle for Earth raged for 3 more days, but with Diana's knowledge, Gabriel's strategic brilliance, and the combined forces of humanity and the Altarians, the Vex Armada was finally defeated. In the aftermath, as the surviving enemy ships retreated into deep space, Diana and Gabriel stood together on Earth's surface, watching the sun rise over a world that had been changed forever. "We did it," Diana whispered, exhausted but triumphant. Gabriel wrapped his arms around her from behind, his hands resting on her stomach, where their future daughter waited to be born into a universe where humans and aliens could stand as equals. "We did it together," he corrected. "We'll face whatever comes next the same way." As the stars faded in the growing daylight, Diana leaned back against the man who had waited 5 years for her return, who had given up his empire for love, and who had chosen to build a new world rather than mourn the old one. Their story had begun with a vanished bride and a broken heart. But it would continue with the birth of a new species and the dawn of an age where love truly could conquer all.